Here today, you're going to learn how to become a massively better Call of Duty Mobile player. Whether you're just starting out or whether you're a COD Mobile veteran and anywhere in between, you're going to learn something new, start dying less, and you're going to improve your performance. Now let's dive in. Alright guys, let's start with the first unheard secret, and it's something you should think about before you even start to aim. One super important part to winning any gunfight, which is heavily undermined by almost every player, is what we call positioning. And I'll tell you now, no matter how godly your aim is, if you have bad positioning and you get sandwiched between 4 people, you're dead, no matter how good your aim is. But what exactly is positioning? Well, to put it as simply as possible, positioning is where you place yourself before a gunfight. Not to be mistaken for the very commonly used phrase movement. Movement is the way you start to position yourself after the gunfight has already started or when you already know an enemy is there. But movement is just the second step, and your positioning is what will set you up for success in all of your gunfights. So let me give you a few quick examples here, and I'll show you what bad positioning looks like, how you can fix it, and how to start winning a lot more of your gunfights using good positioning. First, let's take a look at how my enemies are screwing up their positioning when I fight them, and let's learn from their horrible mistakes. These examples can sort of be taken for movement, but the point stands: how should you position yourself when attacking? Well, let's see from this example here when I was attacking a duo in BR. As I approach this duo, I see one of them running near the shed. As I prepare to engage, I get shot by the second player using a sniper. I boost myself up to get a clear visual, and then prepare to fight the one closest to me. But instead of running straight in like an idiot to where both the sniper and closest player could shoot me, you notice how I took cover behind the shed where the sniper cannot see or shoot me? That then instantly gives me an upper hand by forcing it to be a 1v1 rather than a 1v2, just from the way I positioned myself. I kill the one off to the side, making it just me versus the sniper. I get inside the shed and I reload and heal as I prepare to engage the last player. And when I'm ready, I go outside the door that's opposite to the side where his friend was killed, and I tap fire the sniper to death. You see how that entire scenario is made so much more easy and winnable just because of the position I put myself in? You can do this in any round, in any game mode, in any gunfight. And so long as you acknowledge your environment and let it help you win, then that is good positioning. But now let's see some good positioning done in multiplayer. Throughout this free-for-all game, I always positioned myself in areas of the map that covered my back. Because when you think about it, you realize, if you have your back up against a wall, that's 90 degrees around you where you cannot be shot from. As a result, you can focus on targets to your front and sides much more easily, and you'll start earning yourself a lot more kills than when you're straight out in the open where you can be shot from anywhere. And because of that good positioning, I managed to earn myself MVP and win the game. But really guys, just above all else, you should think, what map am I on? Where am I? Where are my enemies? And just position yourself smartly based off those kinds of factors. Whether you're attacking, defending, or simply moving around the map, just keep that in mind and you'll do fine. If you can start to think about that more, you'll already become a massively better player. And speaking of that, if any of this information so far has been of any use to you, consider subscribing. Alright, now you guys know how you can put yourself in a position that sets you up to win any gunfight you come across. But it doesn't end at just positioning. If you want to actually start killing those people, now you'll need some game awareness on top of it. And game awareness is hit or miss for many players, and let me show you why that is. So perhaps you're love struck by a beautiful manta ray and you just can't bring yourself to shoot at it. Or maybe you're just not at all paying attention to the world around you whatsoever, like this guy.
The last revival might will arrive.
But jokes aside, I'll tell you guys this. Game awareness, or game sense, is many different things, because it includes and affects things like your positioning, your movement, and even your aim. One reason game awareness is such a complicated topic is because at the end of the day, game awareness is something that's built over time from experience, as it typically is in almost every game. But even if you don't have a massive amount of playtime in COD Mobile, there's still factors you can always easily pay attention to that will greatly improve your perception to the world and your reaction reaction time to any threat. And having good game awareness is a very important factor that goes into getting better at COD Mobile. So let's begin. Starting us off, one great way to get better at game awareness and to start winning more is by paying attention to sound cues. This is a super important thing in many shooter games, and COD Mobile is no exception. Listening to sound cues like gunshots, grenades, and death sound effects can tell you where the enemies are and where the battling is at. And sound cues can give you the knowledge that you need to win the game. You also have other, slightly more subtle sound cues, such as footsteps. And listening to those footsteps can tell you exactly where an enemy is going to come from, giving you time to prepare and a higher chance of winning the gunfight. So listen to those important sound cues, and always use them to your advantage. Putting sound cues aside, there's also another very important type of cue that will greatly improve your performance. That type of cue being a visual cue. You have a lot of visual cues. One very important one includes your minimap. Now, you should never stare at your minimap, but taking a glance at it when in cover or safety can actually tell you exactly where your enemies are on the map, so it's definitely worth turning it into a habit. Another great visual cue is simply looking at the kill feed. Many people wouldn't see the point at first, but it's actually a very useful tool for knowing if your teammates are dying or if your enemies are being killed. So just pay some mind to sound cues and always take in any useful information visually. Use that information to help you make smarter positioning and movement decisions. Sound and visual cues aside, there's so many other things to game awareness for you to learn just from playing COD Mobile. But I'll let you know of one other super important part to game awareness. Another great game awareness trick is to pre-aim when peeking and entering locations that are hotspots for enemies. Now, this skill will require a decent amount of map knowledge, another skill to discuss in later videos. But as for acquiring that, you'll just need to play the game and get more experience. That's basically the process in really any game, but now I'll give you the example to this pre-aiming skill to help you improve. So again, keep in mind it's always a smart thing to pre-aim at spots on the map where people camp. And as you can see in this example on Tunisia, I was roaming around the map and looking for some enemies to kill. But remember, this is search and destroy. You can't just die and be a waste of a life for your entire team. I mean, you could, but it wouldn't be very effective when it comes to winning. But take that into account. In this game mode, if you die, you need to wait until the next round until you can respawn. So how should you use that information to your advantage? Well, by being extra careful when you're moving around, and by peeking slowly before you run into the objective. So that's what I did. Before I sprinted into the objective, you see how I carefully approached and peeked into the bomb site? Not only that, but I was already looking in the direction of the spot where so many people love to camp on this map. That is being in the second opening in the second story building next to the bomb. And with that good game awareness and quick thinking, 2 enemies are killed just like that. Because of my awareness that 2 people were very likely to be there, especially after not hearing many gunshots previously, I get to win my team the round, which then leads them to win the whole game. But remember, even without great map knowledge, just move around carefully when entering new sightlines, and make sure to pre-aim or be ready to fight when going around corners. Always be perceptive and take in all of that information around you and use it to your advantage. Once you have a good game sense, your movement and aim will start to improve massively too. Wrapping up that game awareness piece, we've just covered a whole lot of topics and information already. So of course, now you know what time it is. It's time to go and use that knowledge you've just gained. So go and get out there, player. Use the information you've just learnt and wreak havoc upon your opponents. Dominate your lobbies. Don't let anyone stop you in your path. And rule over COD Mobile. But also don't forget to subscribe!